Welcome, welcome, welcome. And here we are. A happy new year to everybody. We haven't seen you since the new year. And Chris, welcome along, mate. Did you have a great Christmas and New Year?
Certainly did, Kev. A bit quiet. That's exactly how I like it. Little as possible. Plenty to drink, plenty to eat, and stuff everybody else.
Exactly, mate. Yeah, as long as you get fed and watered, we're fine, aren't we?
Yep, that's all I want.
Yeah. So what we're going to do then, guys, it's probably going to be quite a short show because we obviously don't have very many matches to review. But we thought we'd have a look back at the playoff games and then have a quick look forward at what is coming up this week with who's playing who and who we think is going to get away with it. So, Chris, let you start first. If you want to do the PFL games.
Okay.
How's that?
Okay, sound. Yeah, Kev. All right, then we'll start off with Gary's Surfers and Andy's Eagles. A bit of it. I say it was a bit of an odd game. It wasn't. It's the Eagles dominated the time of possession, but that wasn't really the story of the game. The first quarter, nobody moved the ball at all, and then the game got a little bit odd. It's 0-0, and then the Surfers' Ethel throws an interception, which led to a field goal attempt, which the Eagles' Barrero missed, 47-yard field goal missed. Surfers then drive from their own 30 to the Eagles' 6, but on 3rd and 5, Ethel was strip sacked. So Eagles get the ball back at their own 8 and decide they've had enough of that. Yeah, they've decided it's time to take the ball in their own hands and move downfield. So they go the full length of the field and score on a 4-yard scramble for a TD by quarterback Marsh. But the key play on this drive was really ballsy because, and this is why I say they obviously decided to take the game into their own hands. A 1-yard sneak, 4th and inches on the Surfers 48.
Wow.
Yeah, with the game at 0-0.
Yeah.
You know, who does that? Yeah, Andy does.
Nice play.
Yeah. So and that was the deciding factor in the game. When I say that, that drive led to a completely different game. Yeah. The Surfers then kick off, touchback. Ethel throws a 61-yard pass, bomb to Ford. Yeah. They drive down to the Eagles' 10 and decide to go for a sneak on 4th and inches. Yeah. Defensive tackle of the Eagles, Aldrich, was waiting for it. Yeah. Surfers failed to score. Yeah. Didn't get the first down, didn't get a field goal. Yeah. Strange thing, they did score then a field goal. Yeah. After the Eagles failed to move the ball and punted 10 yards.
Punted it 10 yards?
10 yards. Shanked it. Then the Surfers couldn't move the ball, but they kicked a field goal. So,
God.
Very odd. Yeah. So, it's end of the first half, and it's 3-7. Yeah. Very, very strange. Start the second half. Yeah, the Surfers go with another 61-yard pass, yeah, and end up with a 31-yard field goal, 6-7. Right. So all the time you're thinking, well, you know, this could be a very good game, but that was it then. The Eagles had had enough then. Yeah, they've decided that's it, right? So they drive down, yeah, and score on a 6-yard draw to take it to 6-14. Surfers unable to move the ball, yeah, and following a punt, Eagles drive down again, get a field goal, 6-17, and this is basically how it went. Eagles drive again, get another field goal, yeah. It's basically identical, yeah, and that was pretty much all she wrote. The Surfers drove to the Eagles 38. The drive stalls, kick a massive 55-yard field goal. Yeah. And then a few minutes later, same again, drive the field. This time a 53-yard field goal, but they miss it. Right. so it was a really strange end to the game the way it went. But what was even stranger then? The Eagles drive the full length of the field, right, and they got down to something like, I don't know, something like the 10 or 15 yard line.
Yeah.
And Andy decides not to run up the clock, so he runs out the clock. Yeah, doesn't run up the score, just runs out the clock. Yeah, and that was how the game finished.
Oh,
well. But it was one of those. It was, you've got to say that the Gary Surfers consider. I didn't have them down at all for making the playoffs. Yeah, I thought it was too much too soon, given the rebuild that he's done. Full credit to him. Andy moves on. Gary tries for next year, but yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see how the Surfers do next year. For him to do this well this year, be interesting to see how he gets on next year. Yeah. So that was it. The Eagles move on, and they face the Rivets.
Lovely jubbly.
All right. The Maroons and the Packers?
Yep.
Okay. Right. Okay. Basically, there were 3 outstanding performances in this game. 2 by Packers players, 1 by a Maroon player. The Packers quarterback Walsh, 20 for 31, 240 yards, 3 touchdowns. Running back Lamar, 118 yards, 2 touchdowns. And the Maroons, I don't know how you pronounce this, Dong, I don't, but no idea. 11 receptions, 217 yards, and a touchdown. Right, the difference in this game was the Packers' run game was dominant. The outside run game was dominant with their short passing game, which basically at the end of the first half they were 21-0 up. Yeah, Scott's Maroons couldn't move the ball, couldn't get anything going at all. And then even at the start of the second quarter, the Tom's Packers quarterback Walsh threw a touchdown to Lamar, 28-0 up. Yeah, and really, the Maroons tried. There was no real way to come back. Having said that, yeah, they threw a 58-yard pass to Dewan. But then they had a 10-yard offensive penalty that's led to them being pushed back a bit, and they had to settle for a field goal, 3:28. On the next possession, the Maroons finally stopped the Packers and forced a punt, and they returned the punt. But 2 plays later, Jensen threw a 40-yard bomb to Dewan for a 10-28 game. So there's a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. It's, there's possibility. But then the Packers drive down this time to the Maroons held them, but they still got a 48-yard field goal, so 10-31. Then the Maroons drove again, 60 yards, but missed a 27-yard field goal. So at the end of the half, it's 10-31. Start of the second, the Maroons came out firing, drove all the way to the Packers 17. But again, had to settle for a field goal. So it's now 13-31. But then really the game kind of ended on the next play, because what happened was the Maroons kicked off, and the Packers return specialist Holding returned it for 49 yards. Yeah, 8 plays later, they threw an 8-yard pass, and the Packers went up 13-38. Yeah, so after that, it was just a series of miscues then. Maroons missed 2 more field goal attempts, and the Packers had a fumble and an interception, and that saw out the game. So it finished 13-38 to the Packers.
Yeah, Tom's always strong in the playoffs, and it would have taken Scott quite a bit to get through that game, I think. Yeah,
again, Scott did extremely well to get to the playoffs. Even he was shocked that he made the playoffs. So he did really, really well to get there. And, I don't think he was expecting to put up much of a fight against the Packers, because they are as good as they are, and now the Packers move on to the Generals.
Yeah. Yes.
So over to you, so the LFC.
Yeah, okay, let's have a look at the LFC then. Basically, the LFC was quite strange, in as much as we had in the 2 different games, we had one side that totally and utterly dominated the clock in each game. And one team made advantage of that, the other one basically didn't. So let's have a look at, first of all, the Fire against the Sharks. Okay. I have to be perfectly honest here. I was probably quite pleased about the result, as it were. No disrespect to Colton, but we have to face it. Colton's leaving us, and Ben isn't. So it's a bit of a shock, that one. Obviously, Colton hasn't either settled into the game or his time constraints or whatever, because he's got one hell of a good team there. And for a first season, that was a remarkable effort that Colton put in there. So I'd like to see that continue. But obviously, Colton has his reasons for that. What we had here at the start of the game, I thought that, I must admit, I'd probably predict the Fire to win this one. And as we know, it wasn't the case. Basically, what happened was Ben has the #1 pass offense and the worst possible run defense or rush defense. So you sort of expected Ben to throw the ball and Colton to run the ball. That wouldn't have shocked anybody. And in fact, what Ben did is he did exactly what he said he was going to do. He ran the ball 0 times or twice in the whole game. He threw the ball something like, was it 58 times? And ran the ball twice. So basically Ben just played to his strength. It's like, I'm going to bloody well throw the ball. I've got the best pass offense in the league. Here we go, catch this if you can, you know. And Ben just carried on doing that. The stupid thing was here that Colton, when he did run the ball, had tremendous success. He was basically averaging 7 yards a carry.
Yeah.
So all he had to do really, and he had the ball for 36 minutes. So the reason he ran the clock like that was he just kept running the ball and running the ball. But what he did do as well was he attempted to throw the ball. And every time he threw the ball, it all came undone. There was either an interception or a sack. And what was happening was he was building up good drives, then throwing the ball, and basically the ball was just getting thrown away. Verges, is it? Verges. He threw 29 attempts, 31% completion rate, and 3 interceptions. All of the interceptions were pretty much fatal, in as much as they stopped a run, you know. And in fact, you sort of thought, well, you know, had the Fire just ran the ball, which we know Phoenix are going to do next week, Ben had no answer for him, really. It was only when he threw the ball that basically Ben got into the game. And in fact, if you look at the first quarter, Ben ended up 17-0 at the end of the first quarter. And if I take you through the drives, the first drive, Berlin Fire, basically run, pass. Interception, ball goes over to the Sharks. Okay, didn't score on that one. Second drive, again, basically we have successful run, play action pass, a declined penalty, and then incomplete option pass, and then basically a punt. Third phase, the Fire had the ball, basically a scramble for 17 yards, play action pass, intercepted. And it just went on like that. They could not get, every time they went in the air, Verges sacked for 4-yard loss, fumble. And so it goes on, you know.
How much of it do you think that was down to the optimizer, though, Kev? Because he may have intended to just continually run the ball, but the optimizer steps in and...
Yeah, he might well have done, but the strange thing was that in that phase there, you've got, you know, 6-yard line plunge, a 5-yard bootleg, a 7-yard counter, a 4-yard, an 8-yard via right. So it's all going run, and then long pass right, interception. It's like either very, very frustrating because of that, but I can't see why those players were put in, if you know what I mean. So I think this could be something to do with the planning, as it were. But because if I was Carlton in that situation, you'd have hardly had a pass play in there at all.
No, and keep it to the safest pass plays rather than long passes.
Yeah, because that's exactly what Ben did. I mean, he didn't have a run bloody play in the whole. He must have had one. I mean, to run twice in the whole of the match just goes to show what his optimizing. He managed to do it there. So good result for Ben. Cracking result for Ben. Ended up as we all know as a 21-31 game. It was quite close in fairness. That was a stupid thing. It was within 3 points right up until the 58th minute. So Carlton was never really out of the game, as it were. It's just that they gave up opportunities that really they could have scored from, if you know what I mean. And with the amount of possession that they had, I think Carlton will be quite disappointed. I think Ben's got away with it, shall we say. I'm pleased he has, but I think any other given day that could have gone a totally different way. So that was the first of the matches. The second one between the 66ers and the Wolverhampton Weasels. Again, the Wolverhampton Weasels absolutely dominated the ball here. 37 minutes in possession to 23 minutes for Leeds. We've said quite a few times during the season that Leeds have got a fantastic defence, but not much offence. And unfortunately, that really was proven today again, because Leeds never, ever got the ball rolling at all in offence. And the Weasels just shut them down and shut them down and shut them down. First drive, basically a 7-yard loss and a fumble for Leeds. That was the very first drive of the game. Then Weasels went marching down the field. Here, they were stopped 4th and inches on the goal line, on the Leeds goal line. You thought, oh, this might be interesting. Leeds might be just able to keep them out here. And they did. They lost the 4th and inches. They went for it and didn't get it. Then again on the second drive for Leeds, basically they had to 3 and out effectively. And then again, the Weasels just kept the ball, ended up with a field goal. Next drive, 3 and out for Leeds. And so it went on. And then a touchdown from the Weasels. And really at the end of the half, you were looking at, or end of the first quarter, you were looking at a 10-0 lead to the Weasels, which was then extended out to 16. In fact, they missed a field goal. And then at the half, it was 19-zip. And to be quite honest, at that stage, the game's over. Now, in the comments, Craig was sort of saying that he was being hit quite hard by injuries. And I think that probably did have a big bearing on the game. But what you've got there is you've got two, what I call, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, relative newcomers to Gridiron. And it's great to see them both doing so well, because Craig had a fantastic season and Ben's going from strength to strength. So all in all, 2 great games in the LFC, which just shows there that 3 out of the 4 were new players, or relatively new players.
Yeah, it's just humbling. Actually, it's humiliating.
Yes, I didn't want to say that, but as old timers, I better start learning. I think.
Listen. As the owner of the overall fourth overall pick, it's humiliating.
It's good, but it is good to see new blood coming in and settling in well. So it then takes us on to next week's games. Ooh. So we have the Eagles against the Rivets, and we have the Packers against the Generals. And then on the NFC, we've got the Weasels against the Hornets and the Sharks against the Phoenix. So mouth-watering things there. So let's start with Eagles against the Rivets. Might as well.
Right. Okay. There then.
Your view on that one, sir?
Well, we've got the 8-2 Eagles against the, yes, you guessed it, the 10-0 Rivets.
Yeah.
Still haven't lost a game. Yeah. Staggering. Well, it's if you look at the offensive and defensive rankings,
Yeah.
it should be a landslide to the Eagles. Yeah. If you look at just that, if you look at just those, the rankings, right? But the problem is it's Conrad, and he doesn't need a number one ranked offense or defense because he's got the number one ranked special teams. Yeah. So, I mean, his average starting position for his drives is in your half.
He's
He only has a short field to play with. He doesn't need to drive the length of the field because he's already in your half of the field. Yeah. So, I mean, that's what we all know. Andy's a great coach. Yeah, we know that. Yeah. But how do you overcome that? I mean, he's got to come up with an absolutely outstanding game plan to overcome that. Conrad, we know, is exceptional. And he doesn't need to have the number one offense or the number one defense. Yeah, he just knows how to play the game. And as good as Andy Season's been, that overcoming those special teams is something else.
Yeah, I mean, Conrad's never had the number one offense or defense ever that I can remember. But he just puts together a fantastic game plan to nullify whatever your strengths might be. And as you say, B, he's got that special teams, which he just, churns out and churns out. Has Andy got any chance?
You'd like to think so. You would like to. Do you know what? If he was at home, if he was at home, maybe. Yeah. But the problem is, Conrad is so good at this game, and that special teams unit is so good that it's hard to see how Andy can overcome it. And that's as good as Andy is as a coach.
Yeah, but the sands of time must be catching up at some stage. They've got to be.
Well, I thought that at the end of last season.
Yeah, well, it will be interesting next season. I do tend to agree with you. It's take a brave man to see past the Rivets. Andy, as Eagles, had a few ups and downs this season. So I do agree with you. I think Rivets for that one. I can't really see them being stopped at this particular juncture in the playoffs. Maybe next time, but we shall see. Maybe next game we shall see.
If they make the final, or if they
division, I think they could have a problem in the next match. But then
that's right. Yeah, exactly. They could have a problem. They could. There's no guarantees because obviously they're going to play the winner of the Packers and the Generals, and that's not going to be easy.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at that game then, because that was a nice lead in there to the unrehearsed.
Well, this game, right? This will be really interesting because the Packers travel to the Generals, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The Packers are 9-1. The Generals are 9-1.
Yeah.
The only game that the Packers lost all season was against the Rivets. The only game that the Generals lost, 24-0, was to the Packers.
Yes.
Yeah. Obviously, the Generals are at home. And
so, do you reckon Tom's got a
number? Right now, then, the Packers have the 6th ranked D against the rush. The Generals have the 2nd ranked rush offense. Yeah. The Packers 6th ranked offense against the Generals 2nd ranked pass defense.
Yes.
You couldn't write this. I looked at it and I thought, oh, you couldn't make this up. Yeah. So it's the Packers number 4 overall offense against the Generals number 3 overall defense.
Yeah. Toss of a coin, isn't it? Almost.
Who knows? Yeah. Does it come down to luck, turnovers, or just somebody who's got the best game plan? You know, I mean, you would say, have the Packers got the Generals' number? Yeah, or you know, Generals are so difficult to call this. So difficult. Yeah, it could go either way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tempted to go with Tom's experience over Eban's sort of relative newness, as it were, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. But Tom's been there, done it. Is a good game planner. Not sure who Eban's mentor is and how much influence they're having or whatever, but
well, I'll tell you now. I'll tell you now. Yeah, he's 9-1, so it's not me. I'm not his mentor.
Oh no, I know, he's been very, very good, but it'll be an interesting one. Again, home field advantage. The Generals could be the deciding factor, but we shall see, as they say. But I will probably go for the Rivets and the Packers. I would think the two old hands, as it were, in the nicest possible way.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree with you. I think it would be a surprise if it went the other way. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. And the other games, we're looking at the Weasels against the Hornets. The Weasels done fantastically well, and they've basically had a fantastic season. But I've got to say, I can't really see past Collins Hornets in this one. You know, again, he just manages to game plan and pull out all the stops. Collins now got a good defense, and he's got an unbelievable offense. So it will be one heck of a good day, shall we say, for Ben to overcome the Hornets, especially at the Hornets. I think that makes a difference as well, if you know what I mean. But that's just my sort of thoughts. I don't know what you think on that one.
No, well, the other thing is it's Collins' experience, isn't it? You know, which is a big part of it.
Yeah, I think so. And that's you know, and then we've got the Sharks and the Phoenix. We've got the old hand, if we can call him that, Ben, against the new blood in Ian. So what are your thoughts on this particular one?
But I don't know, because I mean, I haven't looked. I mean, it all comes down to, can the Phoenix stop that passing game? And I you know what? I think I'd have to favour the Phoenix at home. Yeah, because
I would go Phoenix. I think the Phoenix could run away with this, to be quite honest, because I think they'll control the clock. Now, you know, with Ben's passing game, you've really just got to defend the pass, because you know it ain't going to get run anywhere at all on the pitch. And Ian's got an unbelievable rushing game, which I'm not sure whether Ben can stop, but we shall see, as they say. I think this will be a no compromise game. One side's going to throw the ball, one side's going to rush the ball. I don't think there's going to be any middle ground at all. You know what I mean? It's just a case of who outscores the other. I don't think it's going to be a 0-0. Let's put it that way. But
so you're not expecting 25 punts in this game, then?
No, not really. You know, I mean, basically, I mean, also Phoenix, we've got to forget not got to remember they've got a decent defense as well. So you know, they could stop Ben's offense, as it were. And if that's the case, then that's it, game over. You know, but we shall see, as they say. We shall see. So my prediction would be Hornets and Phoenix, Rivets and Packers. Yours is pretty much as similar, is it?
I'd just have to agree. Yeah, to be honest, whether or not there'll be any surprises, but we'll soon know. I can't wait to see the games.
Yeah, it'll be a surprise if there aren't any surprises, because there always are in this game. That's one thing we love about it. We go, who did what? How did that happen? You know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. That's why we all love the game. Anyway, we shall be back next week, God willing, and we shall let everybody know what happened in those games. But in the meantime, I think still quite a few things to do. Ben's looking for the MVP. So if you haven't got in there, I think we're still voting, aren't we, for the Pro Bowl?
Yep.
And obviously there's still my training. Oh my gosh, my coaching. Guess who had 3 things with 20 points? It's like, oh,
No.
I'll settle for that. The best result I've had all season 3. Yeah.
Hang on? How did you get 3 with 20 points? Did you give 1 point each?
Yeah, 5, 5, 5, and 5.
Good God.
Yep. Not only that, but I also had 2 totally and utterly useless development squad hits as well, but they're totally useless because it now takes them both to 2. And I'm like, okay, great. Nothing. But yeah, it was really weird.
I was delighted I had 1 pop.
No, I was absolutely shocked. I was like, and I was in 2 minds as to whether to do 5, 5, 5, and 5. And I thought, well, you're going to get 0, but anyway, I'm sure that it will come to a crunching close.
It just goes to show that the rich get richer.
Well, it wasn't that rich because I think up until then 42 pops for the season, so that takes to 45. So reasonably happy with that. It's like, but again, it's like, is it the right pops? And the answer on some of those is no.
Well, that's the problem. If it's not on the right players, then they're valueless, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, I've spent so many points trying to get my cornerbacks up and my quarterback up.
Yeah. I mean, I've got to be honest. When I look at how the points have been or how the level gains have gone, I'm sort of being quite critical of myself. It's like, well, you gave him the points to actually train him, so why are you training him if you don't want to get the points on him? If you know what I mean. So it's like,
yeah, but it's
a bit of a weird one,
There's so much luck involved that you can't predict it, can you? And you're either lucky or you're not. Yeah,
not unless you're Andy, who keeps ramming it home to us on. We're going to have to start blocking him, I think, to keep the morale up.
That's right. Yeah, you see that's how he's winning. Yeah, he's demoralising us. That's what he's doing.
That's what it is. Yeah. Anyway, mate, I suppose Tempest Future. We better move on. Let these poor people away from our ugly mugs.
Yep,
and we shall see you next week, sir.
Okay, sir. Yeah. Have a good week.
And you, mate. Goodbye. Cheers. Take care.
Bye.